Is it going? Yeah, it's going. So I'm just trying to, yeah. So I'm gonna go right here. Here's the one I want to do. Going through my stuff here. I didn't, no. Hey. Oh, here we go. I hope it worked. That was me in the kitchen earlier. I'll put the volume off. So I'm just trying to get organized here. Yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna skip that. Trying to put something else in the background. That's me working on my stuff in the farm. So let's no, not that. Okay. To show what I can, if I go back and I go back to hard drive. Yeah, so it's what time is it now? It's almost 9:30. Ooh, which means 8:30 in the morning for you guys in Florida. So I'm just gonna put a background. It's fishing stuff. No, not. So what looks like it would be is fish pictures, fish. What is it on? Brain stuff, farm video, some pictures, like a bread, some soda. Just put some fishing stuff. They're not great, but I'm just put. I'm just picking. So might not be anything. I'm cooking any cheese. Getting ready for fishing. Coffee in the morning. Anyways, just background stuff. So yeah, so that's me a long time ago, 10 years ago. Lots of fishing. So yeah, had long hair and stuff. Anyways, it is what it is. I'm gonna get it a little lower, and then it's gonna go yeah right here. Close that up a little bit. Yeah, just some tough time right now. Trying to figure this out for you know I tend to record myself because I need to. I'm thinking about everything I'm doing here, right? And it's not that easy. There's the kitchen, so it's cooking earlier, and wait a minute, fix that. Yeah, just trying to play. It's called playing. You guys know what that is. We're guys who like to play. So yeah, so just cooking and stuff, and trying to get a little bit on the nostalgic stuff because I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing here, and there's a lot of things going in my head. Right, I go to school, trying to understand how to live in Japan, how to do all this good stuff, and oh, my coffee. It's always something. Whoa, getting hot here. Oops. Yeah, we're just doing my stuff, fishing. Yeah, just to remind me where I came from. I'm not going to be putting pictures on the wall, but I put videos on the wall. So it helps me stay centered, right? Figure out who I am. And, well, I know who I am, but remind myself that life is a journey, not a destination, right? So that's what we're at. And I'm trying to figure stuff out and go from there. So I put stuff, all kinds of stuff on the walls here, fishing. So yeah, just to remind me, all the stuff I've done and stuff I love to do. I haven't fished in years, I used to fish with those guys all the time. We were really good. And I kind of got burnt out on a lot of stuff. Burnt out in Florida, burnt out of, you know, I'm still a dad. I had the 3 kids and they're doing good, but I still got burnt out on a lot of stuff. And the fish farming was one thing, and I just wanted to do something else, right? So, 20 something years of fishing and 30 years of raising fish, and 18 years. Well, they're 22 now. 24 years of kids. So yeah, I'm just trying to figure stuff out, and hasn't been easy. It was a big gamble for me to come here. I knew it wasn't going to be easy. I was hoping to have a clearer path, right? The process of getting here was tedious, but also really hard, right? You live 38 years or so in Florida, you live in Canada for a while, and suddenly you wake up one morning and you say, I got enough of this. I want to do something else, right? Kids are gone, house is empty, and so I just wanted to do something else, right? So I did the choice of coming to Japan, after a couple of years. I looked at other countries and things like that. But, today was okay. School was okay. I had fun. I love the kids, right? I love the guys out there in the classroom, and it's a lot of fun. But with my stuff, I have to be. I need a purpose, right? Japanese school is great. It's okay, but to me, it's just a tool, right? It's a tool to learning Japanese is a tool. That's all it is. It's a tool to enable you to be here, right? To get a job or start something or build relationships or whatever, things like that. Right? So yeah, so yeah, I'm trying to, like I say, figure this out, right? And playing with streaming. It's a bit like people don't like to say it, but it's therapy. Right? It's a way for me to express myself. It's a way to organize my thoughts on what I'm doing and trying to come up with answers, right? Like I'm not here to change Japan. I'm not here to, like, I'm definitely not here to make money, right? A lot of people think you're here to make money. No, it's just a different lifestyle. I did a lifestyle in Florida and, you know, fish oriented business and did well, did okay. I didn't say raked it in, but kids are in college and everything's okay. But at the end of the day, I had to figure out something for myself. And so I choose Japan after some many different countries consideration. I looked at Italy for a while, Portugal because I got a friend I know who's doing some fish that I did really well with, and that might be a possibility. I would have to talk to him and see what kind of options there is in Portugal and stuff like that. So, but anyways, and I looked at Panama for a while because I wanted to do ecotourism. I thought that would be pretty cool. And and then I said, well, I like to deal with people. The jungle's fun. I've been there, but it's a little quiet, right? And it's not super safe. It's not super. Infrastructure's not great. So I decided to do Japan for many reasons, but the process of being here was how do you say? Uh, was interesting in the beginning, right? You don't know where you're getting into. You don't know what's going to happen, and you see potential, right? You see potential. And that's what I see, potential, right? I'm not going to change the government. I'm not going to change the rules. I've got to deal with it, right? You're playing the game. It's a game. Life is a game. You got to work at it. And the only thing you control is what you do and say. That's it. The rest, you have to go with it, right? So you can't control, the actions of the people or the system around you. Right? You can complain, you can bitch, you can do whatever you want, but that's not that's not the that's not constructive, right? So right now I'm kind of nostalgic, right? So I have to, how do you say, uh, work on what I need to do, and then to move forward, right? So I don't know how much. No, hopefully I didn't do too bad. I had the sound on some stuff, so I need to get rid of that. So I settled here. You know, it took a year to get a visa. It took a year and a half to clear up the farm, get rid of the equipment, get rid of the fish, prep the property to clean it up. Farm's still there. We got a friend that's staying at the farm to, you know, make sure it's okay. Got the electricity running. So I'm paying two bills right now. That's what's struggling. You know, I'm paying a bill in Florida and paying taxes, whatever, and then I'm paying here, right? So, you know, I'm paying two houses for one, right? So, yeah, one day maybe a property would sell, but it's, you know, the economy's not great. So I'll have that stress, right? That stress of managing uh, my life, right? That's part of my life. One day, if it sells, great. If it doesn't sell within the next 6 months to a year, I might just pack it up here and go back and figure stuff out, right? I can't keep living uh, spending money if the future here is uncertain, right? I love Japan. I love the people here. There's a lot of stuff, but it comes with a lot of challenges, right? A lot of challenges, and those challenges I can't control. I can't control, so I have to adapt. I was hoping to start something here, but it's difficult, right? I think I was thinking about it today, and it's. I feel like you have a Damocles sword over your head when you're here, right? You have a sword over your head, and you have to keep working, right? But you don't know if that sword is going to land on your head, right? So it's sit by a thread, and that's how I feel. And I wish it wasn't there, but the pressure of being here by external factors, right? Japan, the rules, the laws, the expectations, and everything else is it makes it hard to focus on what's the goal, right? So it's a different challenge, right? You're playing a game and you're never going to be comfortable on the court, right? And life is about being comfortable in the uncomfortable, right? So if you're on, you have to learn to be comfortable in situations that are out of your control, right? So that's what I'm trying to do. Is just to, you know, it's difficult to plan something and invest. That would be the word. It's difficult to invest into something if you're not sure if the investment is worth it. Right? Is going to be a reward for it? Right? People get excited with Japan with you know, the scenery, the culture, the food. To be honest with you, you know what? I don't get excited about that stuff at all. I mean, I appreciate it. You know, I mean, the Romans had culture, France has culture and history, and Italy, and you know, Russia, China. Everybody's got a story. Right? So they're no different than anybody else. They have their own things, right? That's great, right? And they have their own food, but there's, you know, there's great food in Morocco. There's great food in South Africa. There's great food in, you know, in Argentina. You want some guy named steaks? Go to Argentina, man. You know, so you know, there's good things all over the world. So you have to, you know, decide what you want to do. So again, I didn't come here for the food, right? Yeah, culture is interesting. It's rich, right? You know, education. For me, it was educated people, civilized people, infrastructure, the fact that their train works and their medical system works, and you know, they have cheap electricity, so cost of living is low, things like that, right? But then the people are good, right? But there's good people all over the world, so that doesn't change, right? There's every color, right? So being here wasn't about all that. It was about me, my challenges, right? And then, of course, I have to come here and integrate, right? I'm not here to create trouble. I'm not here to tell people how to live. That's not going to change. I'm not there for that. I'm here to do things for me and to integrate, or, you know, find a way to fit in, right? That's the challenge, right? Fit in with the rules that are imposed on me as a foreigner. So that's the challenge, right? I've been here, this is my third, I've been here twice before coming here more on a full-time basis, like student life. So now, uh, I'm seeing it a little different. So school is hard. Right now, it's not that it's hard, it's just school, right? It's not, you show up, you do your best, trying to learn, do your homework, and you live in society, you're trying to talk Japanese and you're trying to fit in, right? That's it, right? Trying to make a living, trying to figure out where to get better coffee because their coffee's not great. You know, make my own, roast my own things and stuff. But anyway, that's still so, finding where to go groceries, get all your things and stuff like that. There's some fishing stuff. Man. I've been fishing. I did a lot of fishing, with mahi, and we did all kind of tuna and mackerel, amberjacks, sharks. So lots of fishing. Uh, I haven't fished anymore. I kind of burnt out of that too. Too much of it, and so uh, yeah. Anyways, so right now I'm kind of like in a nostalgic part because one of the things that makes it hard for me is that when you want to make plans, you don't want distraction, but you're going to get distractions when you make plans and you're trying to get to a goal. You got to make plans, and yes, unforeseen situation comes and you have to deal with it, right? Japan's like that. It's no different than anywhere else. You got to deal with what they offer and what they don't offer. So right now, the idea of starting something as a business is very difficult. I first came here, I did not want to be doing tutoring or and teaching English or stuff like that because I have a master's and I did coaching for a bunch of kids and all ages. And I love talking to kids and stuff. And I wasn't planning to do teaching, but I ended up going that path now. So, because the business path is closed, that's completely done. So, I'm single, right? So, that's what makes it hard is that I was willing to start something because I can do anything, right? I'm not afraid to do anything, but I have to now make a different choice. It's how do I stay here and start my projects, right? I still want to start stuff, but that's going to take some time. I got to learn the language, right? I got to get that language down in the next 6 months to, no, I say a year, and go from there. And then, and then make plans. I don't want to live in the city. I do not like the cities. I'm an outdoor guy, countryside, love that kind of stuff. So basically, so I'm stuck here right now, right? So Osaka is where I'm at. I had to move to Sakai because at least it's got a little bit of greenery and it's a little more quiet. It's more further away, but at least it's give me that. So that's where I'm at. So, you know, I ended up, how do you say, making all these choices. And like I say, we'll see what happens later on. And it's not easy, right? I need to focus on the positive and being a bit on this nostalgic thing right now. I'm trying to figure out if I stay here or if I don't, right? I did sign a 2-year lease. Yeah, I get penalized if I leave. It's going to be 2 months, but it's no big deal. I'll be dead. And because my rent is not that much, right? Rent. If I go in translation, rent is I think if I count the electricity, so electricity, propane, internet, water, that's 500 US per month, right? So everything. So yeah, I don't have parking for a car or anything like that, anything else, I just walk. But it's okay, right? I had to buy all the furniture, refrigerators, all that stuff, the washer, and microwave, toaster, all that, everything, because there's nothing. So that was about $1,000, to buy everything, the bed and all that. So for $1,000, you buy everything, so easy. So cost of living and materials is no problem. So it's not a big deal. But living here, salaries are way down, way down. So 7, $8 an hour, $10 an hour, that's average, average. So yeah, so you know, if you work, yeah, you can make, yeah, cost of living is not that much. So it's so for $1,000 a month, you could live okay, but you're not gonna be traveling a lot. You're not gonna go to Okinawa, or things like that. Right? You might be able to go there once in a while, but you're not gonna be traveling a lot because it costs a lot of money, right? If I want to go to the village and I take the Shinkansen fast train, that costs me $60, like $100 for the day back and forth, or something like that. Maybe 120 for two trains back and forth to the. Well, I still got to take other trains, but the whole trip. So it adds up quick, right? So you're going, and then when you go to villages and stuff like that, you're stuck to live in Airbnbs and stuff, and those get expensive. So going to the village for the weekend is a couple $100, right? Easy, right? So while you stay in city here, you can live for $1,000 a month, and then but you go for one weekend and you spend 250. It adds up quick, especially if you don't make any money, right? Your salary's low and stuff like that. So yeah, people they live, but they manage. It's okay. It's their style. But again, coming back to being here, I don't want to be nostalgic, right? I don't want to think about this stuff. Man, this stuff that passed, it's over. I can't deal with it. It's fun. It was great. I learned some stuff. But I have to think about the future. But the future is uncertain. That's what makes it hard to make plans. It's hard to go to school not knowing if the investment of going to school is worth it, right? Is it worth it to spend 2 years here and having the possibility of being kicked out because of whatever? So it's tough, right? Yeah, the visa thing is a 1 year thing, so you have to reapply for a visa every year. And yes, you can get sponsors by companies if you work for a school or whatever. They'll pay your visa every year, but it's still that little insecurity knowing that it may not last, right? It's hard to say, I'm going to invest my time and say, hey, I'm going to try to make friends. By the way, making friends with Japanese is extremely hard. It's extremely hard. Uh, I'm a friendly guy. I don't, I'm not going to put pressure on the people to hang out with me or anything like that. I can take care of myself. But building relationship with Japanese is tough. Second thing, the language being a barrier makes it even harder, right? So they stay on their side of the fence and we stay on our side of the fence, right? But on the other side, they have the say, we have no say, right? So which is fine, right? That's all. But it's the communication is a big issue. Values is a big issue. Communication, you know, manners, customs, all that stuff, and they're proud, right? Like anybody else, right? I'm American, proud to be American. Canadian, proud to be Canadian, whatever, right? And so they just want to be respected, right? So I think that a lot of people do come here because it's cheap, vacation is cheap, food is cheap, and they come here and they you know come here for a couple of weeks, whatever, make a little bit of ruckus, and then they leave. And so they'll take your money and they'll smile and then they say goodbye, right? They're not gonna you're not gonna make a lot of pen pals. What I'm saying in Japanese, it's really hard, right? I make pen pals all over the world, right? I can make pen pals in Italy. I can make pen pals in Africa and Australia, whatever. If you make because of Japan English, you can talk to many people, and I speak French too. So I'm both. I'm fluent French and fluent English on reading and writing and talking. So those are a good options. Those are good tools for me. But Japanese is the next on the line, right? So we'll see how it goes. But I try not to be nostalgic. I am today. I miss a lot of things, and there's a lot of things that are not coming together easy and prevents me from seeing what the future is going to be. Uh, Life is not a destination, right? It's a journey, but is the journey worth it? And that's a question to be answered later on. Uh, so I'm not stuck here. It's not like it's a choice, right? Happiness is a choice, by the way. right? You decide in the morning how you're gonna feel. If you're pissed off at the world, then do something about it. If you don't, then if you want to eat something, then eat what you want to eat, whatever, right? So you got a choice, right? You can't control the stuff, but you can make choices to make yourself happy. Anyways, little anecdote there. So we got to do, yeah, being in Japan stuff. I don't know, like I say, it makes it difficult for me to be here, but I kind of signed a lease for 2 years. I'm here for a while, and I told myself I would do the Japanese language proficiency test. So that's in December. So I signed up for that. So I got to work real hard to get there, show up at school every day, do all my homework, and go from there. But like being here is not easy, right? It's a challenge. Trying to make a life in Japan, moving from Florida, 2 year process. I raised the kids in Florida, had businesses in Florida, did okay, shut everything down, and and do what I can to keep going. So right now I'm just trying to figure stuff out every day. Just started streaming a little bit. I'm not gonna do this all the time, but I'll do streaming every day. But I don't have a structure, right? So it's just a matter of time to figure stuff out. And right now, just let's see what we got. Yeah, some more jet and pictures and stuff. Anyways, school is fun. People are great. It's you meet a lot of people. I made more friends from other countries than I made in Japanese. Right? Japanese are tough to corner. Right? The language barrier, but also they're very introvert. It's an introvert country, so it makes it interesting to be here. But like I say, it's a lot of things I have to think about for the future, and one of them is basically trying to figure out what I'm going to do here since the business idea is done, and then the now it's kind of like down to just a couple of options, right? So work for a company. If I want to stay here, the options are pretty simple actually. So you come here either a student visa and you stay here, get your certification for language, and then get a job, and then that's number one kind of options. You could get married, but that's a tough one, right? So uh, been there, done that. I'm not getting married anytime soon. Been divorced for a while, raised the kids, so that's all said and done. Um, Doing in business an investment that is completely a no-no. If you're an investor and you see the rules that they've applied and imposed on you, it's kind of like, well, they really don't want you here, right? You got to be willing to have money that you don't need, right? If you want to do a business here, because the rules are basically simple as it used to be 5 million yen, right? So let's say 5 million yen to start a business, you have freedom, which is about 20,000 US, right? So that's not too bad, right? You can rent a warehouse for like a few $100s a month. You can do all kinds of stuff. So, and workers are tough to find, but you can get by if you pay them good. But now that's completely changed, right? So now they're asking 30 million yen, so which comes out to almost $200,000. So you have $200,000 to get here. And you're saying, oh, that's okay. That's $200,000. I'll take that money and do something with it. No, that doesn't work that way. That $200,000 is not to be touched. It's a guarantee that you put that money in the bank and you leave it there and you can't touch it. So I figured that one out because I was thinking, well, I'll do it anyways. But no, that doesn't work. So you have to put that money in a Japanese bank, no interest, right? So there's $200,000 you get no interest on, and it sits there so that you don't like take off or whatever, or don't take care of your responsibilities. So let's say you're renting, and you have the two Japanese worker and Japanese accountant, and you have a rent. You're renting a building because you have to have office space, and you decide to quit. Well, you have to cover that bill for one more year, right? So you have to pay your employees for one more year, and you have to pay your rent for another year. So that's guaranteed to cover that in case you fuck up, right? And then every year you're gonna get out of it, right? To see if you make money. So if you don't make money, then there's gonna be some kind of like issues to be dealt with, right? So how do you start a business in 1 year in a country that you don't understand the rules, don't speak the language, and have to follow their rules? and you uh, have to make money, right? And then again, it's going down, and their population is going down by close to 1 million people a year. So real estate is iffy, right? Yeah, some areas you can you can buy a house and rent it or Airbnb, stuff like that. I've done that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to rent the house and maintain a house. I want to do something else, right? Like, I don't want to be a landlord. I'm not doing it. So, the options are very limited, and then you can get married if you want to, but it's what no, it's pretty girl all over the world. That's not why I'm here, anyways, right? And I got my projects to do. I've got a lot of things I wanted to do, but so there's still options, but it's going to take some time. So there's my son visit. Anyways, so yeah, so we're here. I'm gonna give it a try, and I was able to get a 3-year visa. Figured that one out. 3 years. So it's kind of interesting the way it works. So every year I have to renew, right? So the renewal period is 1 year and 3 months. So I have 3 months buffer. So and to make sure I'm still in school and blah blah blah. Because if I don't go to school, visa done, right? Bye bye. You got a month to get out of here. So they check attendance, they check my grades, they check if I do homework. I mean, it's crazy. Every day they check, like the government checks, the school checks, and it's all recorded, right? I can't work more than 28 hours a week. They check on that too. Right? So, I haven't found a job yet. I'm looking at tutoring because it's the only one that pays decent. You can get a lot of jobs here, but you gotta get like $7, $8 an hour, right? So, eh, you know, it's okay. Cost of living is low, but other than that, the place is great. People are good, everything else, but there's definitely a disconnect between the government and the people here. The people think that, oh yeah, come on here, live here, great stuff. Yeah, yeah, that's it. But then when you get here, and they're like, they don't understand the rules, like how many rules I got to follow and what I got to do. Every month I got to say how many hours I worked, if I did have a job or not. Every month I have to fill out a form. Every month I got to do this. Uh, you know, they want to know where my money comes from. And right now, it comes from my savings in the U.S., right? So I have to do the exchange. And people say, well, put your money in the bank here in the U.S. and Japan. Why would I put money in Japan? It's the yen's going down the thing, right? They don't take American money, right? So it's yen. So if you have American money, you can't use it. You have to go to the exchange, and they change it for you, take a cut, and then you use yen. So they do not use American money. They use, yeah, you can use your credit card and stuff, and then you get charged fees. And so the best way I found to not get caught up with fees too much is figure that one out. It's Amazon credit card, right? So I have an Amazon credit card, and that's what I use to pay my bills because they don't get you all the fees of changing the exchange rates and bank transfer and all that stuff. So that's it. Figure that one out. Amazon credit card is the best way to get stuff done here. Oh well, everything else is not so good, right? So looking for a job, got some interviews yesterday, tutoring, and I got a couple more, and I've applied to like 25 jobs. There's tons of work, tons of jobs, but they just don't pay, and you have to, you know, they're not flexible, right? So if you apply for a job and you want to say, well, the hours don't totally work, they're like, no, that's from if they say four to whatever or eight to that's it. They know like, oh, you can't show because I got school, right? I got school in the morning from 9 to 1 every day, right? So I got my 4 hours of school every day, Monday to Friday. So that can't change. So I have to work in the afternoon or on the weekends, right? So that's the way. I love going to the countryside, so it's so much more peaceful. People even more friendlier, stuff like that. So it is a challenge. Yeah, so I have fun doing this, but the long-term goal is tough. It's really tough. I'm not sure. Like I say, I'm on the fence when it comes to being here, right, for the long run. The options are not very easy to corner, right? So if I could have started a business, that'd be great. I have plenty of good ideas. A small business, right? You can start a business here for 20 grand, you're joking. You get all the equipment you need, you can do all kinds of stuff. Like I look at like, Osaka, right? It's like 10 million plus people. It's crazy. I've never lived in a city this big, right? I'm from Sarasota, Florida. What, it's 50,000? Maybe 70, 80,000 on in the tourist season or something. No, not the tourist season, with the snowbird season, right? So then you come here and it's 10 million people. Craziness, right? Craziness. It's insane how many restaurant there is, how many people are walking around, how many bikes on the road, how many people in the subway in the morning. I take the subway every day, two trains every day, with a train to get to the subway station, and a subway, and then I take the subway to school, and that one. So from me, I'm 12 miles away, 12 kilometers, 12 kilometers from school from here. And it takes me 30 minutes, between 30 to 40 minutes, depending on the walk, to get to school. Right. So that's not bad. So school, the train every day for a month, like my monthly bill for train is about $100, $100 US. So which comes out to 80,000 yen or something like that per month, like something like that, 75. So yeah, it's a cost, but at least I don't have a car, paying gas, insurance, and everything else. So transportation works really well. Go anywhere. You can go to the mountains, you can go anywhere, right? I do a lot of walking, but yeah. So yeah, I'm pretty organized. I've been here 3 months now. The first part of the semester was difficult because I came in on the 5th and school started on the 6th. So I came in on a Sunday and in school. So I wasn't organized. I lived in a Airbnb, and I lived in a friend's place. And so homework was hard to deal with. And transportation was tough because I was back and forth learning the trains, and come here and, speak zero Japanese, right? You go to school and the teachers are full Japanese. There is no English, right? And hi and bye, and that's about as good as it gets. So you're sitting there like, holy shit, why the hell am I here? So yeah, school was so the first part of the semester was hard, and I came in on an advanced class. Most of the kids were more advanced than me. I just even though I did a year of Japanese online, um, and I couldn't keep up. And so after 3 months, I said to myself, I got call a teacher and say, hey, can I redo? And so they sent me to another class. And all the students are mad because they're like, we had a little group and they all like me and stuff because I'm not a young kid, right? So everybody's average age is 22, 19, no, 20, 22, 24. Yeah, there's some 40s and stuff. And then I show up and I'm 60. Yeah, so I'm not learning as fast as they are. My brain pathways are a little bit locked in, so it takes a little longer to reset them. So they can learn stuff in a couple of days, and I have to learn stuff in like a week. So even though I study 3 hours every day, I was like, so I ended up restarting the class, different teachers, right? 3 teachers per class, and it's okay. The best part is meeting these people. That's my apartment, the before and after. These are friends from the Osaka down the street, So, um, yeah, it's a lot of fun, but it's kind of crazy, right? Being here, but it's hard. Like it's hard to see a future. That's my problem. I'm not sure about the future, right? Is the investment worth it to be here, right? It's not the food, right? I'm not here for money. I'm not here for food. I'm not here for the girls. I'm here to be the best I can be and to share life, right? Share life and help youth. The youth is the key for me because I love to hang out with youth, right? I don't have any friends my age, right? All my friends are in their 40s or younger, right? And so I love to play basketball. I'm a big basketball guy. I love training. I love coming up with new training techniques and stuff. So I do a lot of basketball stuff. I should put that on a thing anyways. Next time I'll put videos of basketball in the back. Anyways, but yeah, what time is it now? So 2022. So it's 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock here at night. I'm gonna have to slowly get going, but trying to structure myself. See, there's some of the students in the class, Chinese, right? You know, that's field trips that we did. So it's kind of neat, right? You know, that's Sonera, but they have all the deers and stuff. So I have lots of deer walking around the city. It's crazy. And they get pissed off at you if you don't feed them. They start butting your head on. So there's Mia, Chinese, you know. So it's good. It's got its thing going. Yeah, iguanas, tons of them in the Keys. So iguanas. They're just up there hanging out. I'm gonna go fishing. Yeah, bunch of kids doing great. So yeah, that's the best part. I would say the best part of school is the people, right? Meeting all these people that have all these challenges and looking for better opportunities for themselves, right? That is a beautiful couple from Iran. They have their own thing. They're good people. They're just like left, right? And then you got the Chinese that, struggling, and then you got the Taiwanese, Filipinos, you got some Filipinos that they're struggling, so they come to Japan and see if they can start something else, something new. And then you got all these guys, that all start new things here, And me, I'm a little different, right? So I'm more like want to start something. I already did a life, right? Osaka. That's my view from my apartment. Rivers and the countryside. I'm a big fan of that. So one of the things I do is I'm trying to help a friend of mine a little bit, Jimmy, and he works on giant salamanders.
Just give you another.
Yeah, giant salamanders. He's trying to build nice boxes.
Got some cameras on you too.
So they don't move much. They're about 3 feet, 2 to 3 feet long. So giant salamanders. So yeah, he does quite well with those. Well, not well. Yeah, not saying he's healing and stuff like that, but he's studying and stuff like that. Trying to figure out, breeding pattern, distribution, identification, things like that. Life cycle stuff. So it's fun. He's trying to figure it out, right? And projects. So I like to do stuff like that. I use the drones because I've got drones. Some footage and stuff like that. So there's some footage of drones. So this is what I like to film: drone footage. So those are salamander rivers, and little trouts in there, things like that. This not too much stuff. It's kind of like clear water, and then water changes in the rainy season, things like that. But beautiful rivers, right? So lots of those in Japan. There's two sides of Japan. There's the city side and the countryside. And let me tell you, I don't know what people do in the city. What is in the city? It's so bad. And then the countryside has all this, but the kids, they get influenced by the city, think they're going to have a better life, but it's harder in the city, you know? I think kids just don't want to work. They don't want to work the farm. They don't want to create new things. They want to be handed. You know what I mean? Anyways, that's my opinion. It's not worth much anyways. So yeah, just keep plugging away and do my stuff and trying to figure this out. So that's the journey. I don't have structure, like I have my structure during the day, but when it comes to streaming, I'm just talking about what's in my head, and what I go through every day. And it's uh, it's a challenge being here. I'm taking the train every day, going to school every day, trying to figure out what to eat. I know what to eat, but how I'm gonna cook stuff and figure out my activities, my basketball, my streaming, I got my drones, I got all my stuff. I might buy a fishing rod and go fishing. So there's a lot of stuff I'm gonna do, but I'll figure it out. So there's some countryside view if you guys appreciate the countryside. So gives you an idea. So I fly drones when I can. I looked at trying to get certification, but we're not there yet because everything's in Japanese. So here we are. What's going on here? More fishing? Yeah, lots of fish. Streams of fish. So what time is it now? So I'm gonna get going because I gotta do homework. It's 8 o'clock, so I'll stream a little bit. Uh, I know it's not like super, but one day I'll try to get people on here. I'm trying to figure it out, but so I interview some other people. Students are cool though. We gotta interview some students here. And I still don't know if the stream worked out well, but I'll find out. I'll replay it. So you guys have a good night and enjoy the river and go from there. So check that. This looks great. Good stuff.